welcome to Bitstorm, a comedy game design podcast by two guys who knew nothing about comedy nor game design. I'm Ben Singer, and back this week is Trevor Scott.
Yes, I am. Haha.
Missed you last week, buddy.
I wasn't well, and I loved editing the episode with you and Stefan.
Yes, yeah, we had a lot of fun. If you missed it, go back and listen to last week's episode.
I've got to say, it was so much fun editing something I hadn't actually listened to before, because it was like I had to really listen closely to see where to add the little bit of space and cut it down a bit, and so it took a little bit longer than usual, but no, it was good fun. Yeah,
but we're back on our old job now.
Yeah,
our old hustle. So let's do it. Trev, what are we playing?
We're playing Ramped Up Click Pitch, where we each have an adjective and a noun. We throw them at each other. We come up with a game design. Then when we get bored of them, we throw them away and do another set of words.
Yeah. All right, well, let's jump into it. 3, 2, 1, click. Compact nil.
Sentient rag.
We used to have a reputation for like anthropomorphic things.
Mm-hmm. I know Sammy still says that we do, but
yeah, I feel like we've moved away from that a bit. But
so a sentient rag.
So a sentient rag with arms and legs. No, I wonder if this is it about makeup? Something to do with makeup. Because compact, I was thinking,
okay,
like a compact. And then, I don't know, I guess you wouldn't call it a rag that you'd use to, like, remove makeup. It's my makeup rag. Maybe this is about something sentient that uses makeup to, like, blend in or something, or hide.
Yeah, I know. I was sort of, when I heard sentient rag, I was sort of going along the lines of, that's going to be your, not your character, but it's going to be your companion throughout this game. And it could just be an adventure game where you've got a companion who's sort of...
It's the third iteration of the new Leisure Suit Larry series. And it's your sentient rag.
Yes, a sentient rag.
It's ragtime, baby.
I mean, where I'm sort of seeing this is that, like, the sentient rag is actually an alien from a race of rag aliens. You know, they're basically, they look like they're
just like crumpled up pieces of cloth.
Yes, but in reality, you know, they normally have like an exoskeleton that they've sort of have grafted themselves onto, and they're like, the only thing they've got is like, you know, the brain waves that they can sort of control these things with. So,
okay.
I don't think they can actually move around anywhere. They're just kind of like a mind on a rag.
All right. So, is this maybe a bit more of like a Mario Odyssey style platformer where your rag companion can like control things? So it's not necessarily controlling other living beings like in Mario, but you said sort of like it's got the exoskeleton that it control or whatever. Maybe it can like hook into machinery or hook into different things and use those to get around and make changes to stuff.
Yep. So an action adventure with a little bit more emphasis on the adventure part. Mm-hmm. Where the puzzles that you're sort of solving are, you know, throw the rag onto that forklift over there and move this thing out of the way. Okay, now pick up the rag again, and then you can continue moving, sort of thing.
Yeah, it's essentially Watch Dogs, but instead of a cool phone connecting to a citywide OS, you're throwing rags at things.
Yeah, I love it.
All right. I wouldn't go that far, but let's go 3, 2, 1, click.
Futile forest.
Self-military.
Ooh.
I So I kind of like the idea of and we don't do a lot of these, but an RTS. Yeah, I knew you'd make that face. I had a vision of like human military versus a like magical forest, like a creature of magical forests sort of beings, and it's like,
okay, so in the RTS space, can this be more along the lines of, so you have Warcraft 3 where you've got like the big hero that's sort of at the front that.
Sure.
Because I'm just picturing this hero with his massive axe going up against these like these trees and stuff, and he's cutting them down.
Yeah. Well, look, it doesn't have to be an RTS. My main image was of an army of like tanks and military people coming up against, like, coming to the edge of a forest, and rushing out of the forest are like magical contraptions with friggin' like elves on them, and birds dropping, I don't know, acid balloons or something, or like
birds dropping acid, just having a good trip.
Spores. Yeah, the birds are just watching it and just tripping balls. But
no, because what I love is that first peon that you ever use. They're sort of they're cutting down the tree kind of thing. They go to take wood back, and when they come back, like the tree's regrown, and they're sort of like. This is a bit unusual, and they cut it down again, and the tree's regrown, and then, that's actually sort of your hero, that he becomes buff from cutting down this one tree so many times that...
I mean, so I was going like modern military, because I just like the juxtaposition of like our modern military hardware against, this magical forest that they find somewhere.
Yeah, but I also like the idea of the Warcraft 3 hero thing of, you get to...
Well, but you can still have a hero.
I just like him with a big axe because trees are afraid of axes.
Fine. All right, then this is the game then, because the other thing I liked about your idea just then was I do like the idea of literally the first peon you start off with that everyone would think is just completely expendable is...
the main character of the game.
The protagonist of the whole game, and ends up being there for the whole time, and yes, becoming this hero.
Yeah, because he's sort of like the huntsman. I can sort of see, as you're going through this forest, and bringing along the army, you come across like a little girl in a red hood and that sort of stuff, and it's sort of like, okay, is there going to be a wolf around? And, you can sort of go into those sort of things, but the idea of the huntsman being... So it's
a fairy tale forest now?
Magical forest that just happens to like feed off the psyche of this guy.
Okay, I feel like we're mixing a lot of worlds here, but all right.
Nothing wrong with that.
until I can't track it, I don't know what the fuck's going on.
That's your problem.
Well, it's also our listeners' problem. No, okay.
You're following along with me, aren't you, listeners?
Shut up, Dara!
Ben's lost it tonight.
I'm just trying to make something cogent that we can actually turn into a game. So, what's the game? Is it still an RTS, or do we like pivot on them? So it starts with these RTS mechanics, but like we don't give them the opportunity to make more peons, or we do, but they like look different then, and then it shifts.
They're mechanical peons from now on. I'm picturing sort of like, you were talking about modern military, so I'm kind of picturing the peons are kind of like Edge of Tomorrow-esque exoskeletons and stuff where they're able to lift up.
Okay, all right. Here's where I'm at then. All right. It has RTS elements. It starts off, literally there's just like this guy in a forest.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't look very strong. He doesn't look like very dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
But you use RTS mechanics. You cut down trees. They do grow back very quickly.
Yep.
You start building up things, and you build your workshop, and then you start pumping out these mechanical creatures to continue your RTS going. So there's almost a bit more and I don't think we do the automation stuff, but like it feels a bit Factorio-like with just these mechanical things doing the work for you. But it's more the RTS mechanics of just like, here's a section of trees to cut down, like send them all there to cut them down or whatever.
Yeah.
But then because you're essentially just like slowly destroying more and more of this forest, because now once you get enough of them, you start being able to cut down the trees faster than they can grow back.
Yeah.
And pushing back the front line of that forest, essentially. Now the forest is pissed off. Because before you were like a little pinprick in the side of this forest that just healed immediately. Yep. Now you're like a gaping wound. And it needs to do something about it. So that's when it starts sending its people after you.
Yeah. Now, by people, you mean all sorts of magical fairy folk with machine guns.
Sure.
Basically, they're turning the technology against you.
We switched that around. This guy's like found that he can cut down the wood from this magical forest to build automaton machines
out of wood.
And sort of all these like these fantasy style machines, and then out of the forest comes like fucking elves with machine guns and bazookas, because they've learned from modern man.
Yep.
And so we switch that around on the player.
And it's futile because the forest is always going to win.
Whoever wins, we lose. Because the forest wins. Are you saying... Well, I mean, we're using... The peon guy is using the forest magic against them then, though, right? Like, he's shifted it into forms that he can control and is destroying more and more of the forest. So I think it's got a chance.
Yeah. Very futile. It's a futile chance.
I mean, you got to make it balance.
Let's click again.
Yeah.
I'm going to let you go first, and then I'm going to go next, and you can easily veto it.
Do you have something specific?
It's the words that came up, but I'm letting you know that you're probably going to say no.
All right. Projecting commission.
Lesbian famine.
Look, I don't think we take that as the phrase. I don't think we want to put a lesbian famine in our game. No. But there's nothing wrong with having a lesbian in our game. This is just driving the character. Mm-hmm. So that's fine. Famine and projecting commission.
I get the feeling of like a Doctors Without Borders sort of feeling.
Yes, but in the Star Wars universe.
Okay.
Which because I saw projecting and it just made me think of like their shitty video calls, which are somehow way worse quality than what we have right now. Although I guess technically often they're sending light years across the galaxy.
They're sending light years across the galaxy and they're 3D. Like, we can't do 3D. We can't do holograms. I want to see a hologram. You show me today's holograms and tell me that it looks better than what their stuff does.
Yeah, that's fair. I'll give them that.
Okay. Yeah, Doctors Without Borders in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah, I think it's like exploring a humanitarian mission. So, who's our character? I guess she's a doctor. And is she helping, like, then refugees from the war, essentially?
Yeah, I think that's actually a really cool idea. We don't really see, you don't see the aftermath particularly. Well, I mean, not on that level, not on that scale. I'm almost seeing like, how quite often in war, the medical profession aren't against either side. Basically, if they see sick and wounded, they're gonna, they've got that thing of do no harm sort of thing. I'm picturing that this is like an imperial doctor who just so happens to have got herself stranded on like on like a planet. So it's a whole Doctors Without Borders thing. Like, she doesn't she doesn't care, what side of the war you're on. You come into her tent, and she's gonna help fix you.
I do like that. I do like the idea of an Imperial medic stranded amongst, on a planet where there is a lot of the resistance there, right? There's a lot of the rebellion. And so she's very much mistrusted to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
And perhaps even, captured at one point or whatever and interrogated, but then, the town that she's been helping, and these are people who are not involved, with the war other than the fact that they're affected by it, stand up for her because she's been helping everyone.
Okay. I've just gone to a fantasy name generator for Star Wars, and
sure.
I see her name as Wintra, so Wintra.
Gotcha.
Gantia, Gantia. Tia. Yep.
Wintra Gantia. Sure.
It feels kind of Star Warsy.
What planet
is she from originally?
Is she stranded on, or do we not? I don't actually know enough, particularly.
I mean, I kind of like the idea of her maybe being stranded on Kashyyyk or something like that, which is the Wookiee planet.
I was thinking Kashyyyk, maybe.
There's something about the forest and having wounded Wookiees coming in.
Were a lot of the Wookiees killed? Was there a genocide or something? I don't actually know this.
Neither do I.
They were enslaved for a while, I think. I'm just looking through the Wikipedia page for Wookiee. Not the Wikipedia page for Wookiee, because that would have probably too much information. Kashyyyk was put under a blockade. The Emperor raided. Yeah, so Kashyyyk was essentially under control of the Empire.
Yeah.
But obviously, I think the majority of the Kashyyyk were... the Wookiees basically fought for the rebellion.
Independence and all that sort of stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
But I know, I like the idea of, this is just after the Emperor has died, it's before the New Order and all this sort of stuff, and it's sort of she's just using her medical training from, Coruscant, and she's just doing the best that she can out there with the little resources that she has.
Yeah, I like that. How do we structure this game then?
I suppose the question is, do we want it to be first person or do we want it to be third person?
Feels third person.
I mean, really, to me, it feels VR, but anyway.
Really? No, I feel like for the characterization of Wintra, I'd like to see her in third person. I like to see the way she looks and moves and interacts with people. I mean, do we go full on? So I'm getting kind of a Red Dead Redemption vibe in a way of just there are these towns, you can travel between them, there's different storylines.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe depending on where you're at in the story or how you've, the sorts of missions you've done, some of the towns are hostile to you, some of them are welcoming, some of them are neutral.
Ooh, I kind of like the idea of, you going through a town and a young boy sort of comes up and goes, "Oh, Miss, you got to come with me. My sister and I were going through the old Imperial outpost, and she got stuck underneath some floors. So you can sort of go through this old Imperial outpost where you can maybe see some old ATSTs and all this sort of stuff." And
sorry, I like that a lot. Except I think it'd go a little bit more like this. And she's like, "What? What's that, boy? She's stuck in a well. What's going on?" I can't do fucking
I'm not picturing that everyone's a Wookiee on this planet. I think that there's some, refugees and stuff.
I know, but I just couldn't get past that thought of trying to communicate that his sister is
What's that,
stuck.
Timmy?
No, I like that, yeah. I really, now I'm thinking of it, like the idea of an open world Star Wars game like that, where it's just this one area of the planet, And I mean, I know Star Wars essentially treats every planet just like a city, but
every planet has one feature and one feature only. You know
every
that.
planet. There's one type of climate on the entire planet. You can travel. You can walk to anywhere else on the planet, no matter where you crash land.
Because there is no water. Because it is all just. It's a forest world, so therefore you're in a forest.
Yeah.
It's a forest moon of Endor. It's a desert planet of Tatooine.
Yeah. It's a city planet of Coruscant. He's in the fucking city. He's a city planet. No, but I do like that idea of that kind of open worldy game with Star Wars. And like riding, speeder bikes around, and
I'm just picturing that on her arm she's got like the Imperial patch sort of thing, and she doesn't want to cover it up, but she also that's something that people can comment on, and the fact that you're filthy Imperial scum and all this sort of stuff, and then other people are going rebel scum, and
well, I think then the journey of it is her coming around and hearing the other side of the war, right? Like, she's been raised on Imperial propaganda, and within that society, like, she thinks they're doing the right thing. She thinks the war is just. Until she's stranded on this planet, is dealing with the aftermath, maybe falls in love with someone, if we bring that sort of side into it. And I like this idea of that being reflected as well in the way she dresses and stuff. So, like, initially, yeah, she's wearing a uniform. Like, she sticks with her uniform. She's proud of her uniform. And she's like, screw everyone who's, like, spitting at me and whatever because they think I'm scum. Like, whatever, we're on the right side of this.
I see... Like, I know they probably don't have white lab coats in the Star Wars universe, but I just somehow see, like, this...
It's a black lab coat.
But I kind of see this white lab coat with, like, the black logo of the Imperial sort of thing. And maybe, just maybe, she's got a tattoo of I love Vader or something like that.
Like... It's just a heart with Vader across it on a ribbon.
It's a black heart that sort of towards the bottom sort of starts to look a little
bit like the helmet.
A little bit like the helmet. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Vader's definitely like a teen idol, for people growing up in the Empire, right? Like, I think this woman's relatively young, like in her 20s.
What would Vader do?
W.W.V.D. Perfect.
Maybe that's the name of the episode.
But yeah, I think like reflecting that in her uniform, and as things happen and she gets into fights and gunfights and whatever, like, it starts getting more ripped and ragged anyway.
Yeah.
And then, like, eventually she loses the patch, and she has sort of a moment of reckoning where it's like, oh, actually, like, that's fine. Like, I don't want to be represented by, or I don't want to represent the Empire anymore, or identify as that. So, yeah, I think that could be really cool.
Yeah, I somehow see that kind of like your Batman Arkham Asylum, where there are certain parts of the game where the her costume gets ripped a little bit more, and from then on, it can track where you are in the game depending on how much of the or what part of the costume is ripped.
Essentially, sort of like particular story missions or whatever that propel.
Yeah, but I also like the idea
of your costume.
One of the things that kind of annoys me about some of the Skyrim stuff, when you go through it again and you go, oh yeah, they've separated the main quest from the side quests. What if they didn't do that? What if it was literally like you didn't know whether a quest was a main quest or a side quest, and it was literally up to you to make that decision as to what was important to go down now? And that way, every quest kind of has that same
has a bit more meaning.
Has a bit more meaning of this here could actually be progressing the whole story.
Yeah.
Whereas in a lot of those games, it's like, yep, you know that this is a main quest because, it's actually a different colour and,
It does pander to...
This is the same side quest that we did before.
Yeah, I feel like it does pander to gamers a bit who are like... They don't want to ever be able to miss anything in a game, right? So, like... And they want to be able to do all the side quests first and then do the main quest, or like do the main quest but then still be able to come back and do the side quests, which means you do have to separate them from the story. So yeah, I'm fine with like, you don't know if this quest is going to shut off other quest lines that were there already.
This is your story. Like, as you're going through it, like, you killed that person, well, guess what? They,
like they had some side quests that you, or like
missed.
That you missed and were, would have contributed something to the story and, maybe opened up other stuff later or whatever.
It's nothing important that, is game-breaking at all. Like, sure, you can have those couple of characters that you cannot kill, sort of thing.
I mean, essentially...
But then again, you're a doctor, your whole thing is you shall not kill, sort of thing. Like, do no harm.
Yeah, and I think essentially, you still, from a technical level... have sort of main quests and side quests, but having them less separated, like it'd essentially be like these 3 side quests, like once you've gone past this quest in the main thing, or if you made a certain decision on the main, like in a quest at some point, you just can't do them. Play the game again to make different choices.
Yeah.
The replayability.
And I would love for you to come across like some hard decisions along the way of, a Jedi being tracked by, some bounty hunter or something like that, and having to make that choice of, oh, look, there's someone who seems to be somewhat force-sensitive, doesn't necessarily have a lightsaber and all this sort of stuff, because only Luke Skywalker really had a lightsaber at this stage. But, I kind of see that maybe there's a kid who's showing to be somewhat force-sensitive because things are moving around him, but there's a bounty hunter who's literally coming to try and kill this kid. Do you have to make that?
Yeah, for sure. And I don't know enough about the timeline to know. And I mean, they kind of fucked it all up in the latest thing anyway, because Rian Johnson brought in the idea of there's all these force-sensitive people out there, and then they sort of... I mean, they didn't entirely go back on it, but it was like, yeah, but it's still just like these 2 families. But no, I do like that. And I do like the idea of shying away from combat a lot, and it is more about, and it might be challenging to make this into really compelling gameplay. You need to come up with some good mechanics around it and some good hooks. But
I don't know. I'm picturing some really cool mini games of having to stem the bleeding and cauterize the wound and splint the leg and.
Well, I do like it being a bit more about support then as well. Like, you may still be taking part in some battles, but it's like, oh, you can drop like a shield thing here to protect you from gunfire long enough to bring this person, get this person out of the way, or like prevent them from dying, or do the little healing stuff that you have to do.
So you can still use like a concussion grenade sort of thing, you basically, or a flashbang sort of thing.
Yeah, like a flashbang or something, yeah. Yeah.
Basically, you're not trying to do... You're not trying to kill them. You're not really trying to help your team necessarily kill other people, but you're trying to basically make sure that they stay alive long enough.
Well, I think that's where those interesting decisions will come in too, right? In that, in some cases, there's no... Like, if you don't harm someone in some way, then more harm will happen, right? Like, what is it's a trolley problem situation, essentially. Like, what is the decision you make here?
Can you kill this one person to save all of Kashyyyk? No, you went against your do no harm order, and therefore you
Game over. If you kill anyone in this game, it's game over because you violated your oath. That's the hardcore mode.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I really love that idea. I think it's got a lot. I just like. Lot of weight to it.
I think that's the thing with Star Wars, and they're doing more of it, but just like exploring the edges of it more is fun. And I mean, in any world, really, but in any sort of big IP, yeah.
Cool.
All right. 3, 2, 1, click.
Jolly Shoulder.
Complementary sweating. Is this about Santa's tailor?
See, I saw Jolly and I was going pirate. Because I had Jolly and shoulders, I was thinking the parrot on the shoulder.
Parrot, okay. And that does make a bit more sense.
But then you brought in Santa, and I'm like, ooh, Santa and pirates.
Santa versus the Santa who has to deliver presents to all the pirates.
The Santa of the Seven Seas.
Yeah. Okay, Whitebeard.
Ooh, yeah, I love that. Whitebeard the pirate. I'm imagining that he lost his left hand and it's just like he's got these metal claws.
I was going to say it's going to be a fucking candy cane. It's got a hook for a hand.
I can see both. Maybe you can switch it out. Like it's a striped hook or these metal claws, and he's kind of like, you know. I'm seeing almost that this Santa is not a good guy.
No, I don't think so.
Looting and plundering and...
Well, so is he pirating to, like, fund his gift-giving, like, idea?
Steal from the rich and give to the poor sort of thing, except it's, like, with lots of looting and killing.
Yeah, looting and killing, and... He does want to give gifts to the kids, but maybe he just, like, hasn't fully thought it through.
Yeah. They don't really want all the blood-soaked rags that he seems to be leaving on their doorstep.
Yeah, that's it. And, like, you know, occasionally he gets finds some good booty, but it's not enough to give more than, you know, a few coins to every kid. He just can't ramp it up fast enough.
Yeah. Okay,
is this about his discovery of, like, the elves? Somewhere.
Ooh, there's like a hidden island somewhere that basically, you know, he finds like kind of like in a Willy Wonka way of finding that land of the Oompa Loompas, but finding a land of elves, basically, that they...
Yeah. In a non-colonizing way, hopefully. Yeah, I think he finds this group of elves and does recruit a number of them to come and help him, and they've got some sort of magic they can.
It's happened before the game begins, sort of thing.
Oh, do you think so?
Yeah,
I kind of like the idea of exploring, because I'm kind of now picturing that this is just Santa as a mortal pirate deciding that he wants to do something for the children of the lands.
See, I was thinking that you're a like fledgling pirate on a ship that is hunting down Santa.
You're not even playing Santa.
No. I like the idea that he's like this fearsome Whitebeard the pirate, and you know you sprinkle in a little bit of lore about him, you know, dropping stuff off for the kids. And, you know, your prologue is sort of like you wake up on Christmas morning and there's like a bloody soaked rag and a coin, like, being left at your doorstep sort of thing. And Whitebeard's been...
All right. That's fine. I do like that. That he's this, like, talked about pirate, but all the kids love him, and everyone's got mixed feelings about him because he's like somehow managing to sneak these gifts in for their children,
and no one's ever seen him.
No one's ever seen him, but like the pirates know. Are you working on a pirate ship or on like a navy ship? Like who's hunting them?
Ooh, I kind of like the idea of you're playing like a steward on like the East India Trading Company's sort of ship, and you're sort of going around, and this, you know, your Commodore or whatever is trying to track down this Whitebeard the pirate.
Yeah, because they keep getting reports of like they keep getting ships missing.
Yeah.
They haven't been able to find anything out from the other pirates that they've interrogated. Other than that, they all seem to be scared of him too. It's this scourge of the seas.
I kind of like the idea that this Whitebeard the pirate has been terrorizing the seven seas for the last 60, 70 years. So you kind of start to think, how old is this pirate if he's been doing the same thing for the last 60, 70 years?
Yeah. Well, okay, here's what I think happens then is, yes, you're a steward on this ship. Your ship is attacked and destroyed by Whitebeard, and you're the sole survivor. Mm-hmm. And Whitebeard brings you on board, and you learn about the ship and it's running, and then becomes a very Dread Pirate Roberts situation, where essentially you take on the mantle of Whitebeard, and it's also got shades of the Santa Claus.
I was hoping that you were going to take it there, because I was thinking that for the last 20 minutes, or however long we've been doing this. As soon as it sort of started, I'm like, yeah, I want to take this in the Santa Claus direction. And then you brought up Dread Pirate Roberts, and I'm like, yep, you're going to get there. You're going to get there. I love this idea, because then you got that young sort of person who's looking out to sea, and all they see is hope for the future. And you've got this old Commodore that his whole thing is he just wants to wipe Whitebeard from the face of the planet. And
yeah, he hates pirates overall, and he hates Whitebeard in particular because he's the pirate of pirates. And yeah, so then there is, your character does have some sympathy then, and can see some of the good that Whitebeard is trying to do, and then is obviously just amazed and enthralled by this ship that's crewed by these magical elves.
Yeah.
Who also help to, deliver these presents.
So with these magical elves, are they the traditional elves as we know it, or is it more that they just seem to have this mystical way about them, but they look somewhat normal?
There are a lot of ways we could go with this.
I kind of like the idea of looking somewhat normal, but if you actually see their ears, they're kind of pointy. So they've got that
that's a very that's a very classic. But I was almost wanting to go in the other direction, where they're almost like creatures, like vicious kind of little ugly creatures,
kind of like goblins or something like that.
Yeah, almost a bit like. Have you watched the Christmas Chronicles?
No.
Okay, in that they're these little sort of small creatures.
Yep.
They're not particularly vicious, although sometimes they can be. I was thinking even further in that direction, almost going to Gremlins style thing, where these
don't get them wet.
Don't get them wet. They're all out at sea.
There's a squall. Oh fuck!
Yeah,
they're going to multiply again. God damn it!
No, yeah, I think almost that they are this type of creature that they don't speak. Santa can communicate with them, but nobody else can understand them. They sort of just chitter away, like little demonic fucking chipmunks or something. But as you take on the Santa powers, you start to understand them.
So what happens first? Does your hand get damaged, and it when you wake up, you've just got a candy cane sort of sticking out,
starting to grow?
Not starting to grow. They've replaced the elves replaced your hand with a candy cane, sort of thing.
That might be your first. Yeah,
because I'm picturing what you can do with this candy cane is basically a zip line.
Yeah.
Because that's what I want to see.
Boarding other ships by, ziplining across.
Yeah.
When they've fired things over. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I like that. Oh, so you're saying that happens literally you wake up on the ship for the first time and you've lost a hand and it's been replaced with a candy cane? I kind of
like the idea that, during the ensuing battle, your arm was trapped under some burning
Yeah.
Like the burning mast or something like that. And when you come to, you're in Whitebeard's cabin sort of thing, like, and you've been tended to by these little gremlin things. And then, your character, because I'm picturing it's in first person, looks down at your hand.
I was just about to say.
Just got this.
I was about to say, this very much feels like a first-person game now. It kind of gives me, like, the newer Wolfenstein game sort of vibe.
Or
in
Bioshock, like the...
Yeah, or Bioshock sort of thing, where there's a lot of... you've got that immersive sense of the animations of your character and stuff.
There's something about a swashbuckling pirate adventure to do with Santa. Like...
I mean... I don't think it's been done before. I'm not going to Google it, but...
No, but they kind of mesh together quite well, like...
Yeah. I do love that idea then of... And we're repeating ourselves a little bit, but just to sort of really get it in order. You've got that... The opening thing, you're on the ship, you get some exposition around, like, we're hunting Whitebeard. You don't go too heavy on the Santa lore at that point.
When Whitebeard attacks...
Whitebeard attacks, you sort of just see shapes in these foggy, like it's dark, it's foggy, you see shapes happening. You can do stuff, you can man the cannons, you can whatever, like you're helping out. But yes, at some point there's essentially a scripted sequence where, they come over and you get trapped under here and you're trapped and you're seeing people die around you in ways that you're not sure how it's happening.
Yep.
And then you pass out, and then yes, you wake up, and you're in the bowels of a ship.
Okay, before you wake up, I think that's when you have like a memory back to when you were a kid, and you're waking up on Christmas morning.
Okay,
and you can sort of show then like you going to the front door and you open it up and you see this coin wrapped in this like rag and all this sort of stuff, and all the kids around are all opening the door and finding these coins, and it's sort of like a happy thing, and your parents are sort of like, put that down, and you can sort of see that there's this whole animosity towards like this gift that's been given. And I know, just you get the feeling of what happens on Christmas morning.
Yeah, I do like that. And I mean, I think you don't even specifically call it Christmas.
No.
It's some other holiday. You've come up with some sort of pirate thing, or like not pirate necessarily, but like
Kraken Day
of the time. Yeah, sure. It's the day we do all our Kraken. It's Kraken Day. Oh, do you mean like the Kraken of the... Okay. No, it's just Kraken Day. It's where they crack all their walnuts that they've bought and have a feast. But now on Kraken Day, they wake up.
Okay. Does Santa actually have control over the Kraken? That's my question.
Not until you came along.
Ooh.
Maybe it's a power, like, late in the game that you actually have, you've got even more Santa magic in you than the previous Whitebeard had.
Yep.
And yes, you discover you can summon the Kraken.
And it's a huge Christmas cracker.
I think we'll leave it on that. I really like that. Is a really fun little mashup there, though. 3, 2, 1, click.
Mm-hmm.
Suggested lift.
Hip monitoring.
Okay.
I kind of see this as like a 1990s sort of like technology in the fact that you've got your beeper or something like that, or your monitor just on your hip sort of thing. When I say monitor, it's like it's monitoring like your vital signs or something like that.
I see.
Because I see that maybe you've had some problems in the past, and now you need to keep an eye on your health, and you've just got like this huge like
it's like brick that you
this
hanging off
1990s brick like LCD display, the 7-segment display sort of thing.
Yeah.
There's something about that just I love that idea.
I like the 90s vibe. And we do that a bit being children of the 90s, but I think it's Look, there's not enough 90s nostalgia media out there.
Not nowadays. I mean, it's 30 years ago. Jesus Christ.
Given all these things that have been going around lately that I've seen where it's like, if Austin Powers was made today, it'd be 1991 or whatever. We need more. We need more stuff like that.
Yeah. Oh, that's... Jesus Christ. Why did you have to put that in my mind that, like... Oh, fuck. It really would be.
Yeah. I mean, then look, we've already passed the future of Back to the Future like 6 years ago, so we're getting beyond. Hell, even fucking Judgment Day was like 25 years ago. Wasn't it supposed to be 1996 or something?
Or 1997, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, look, when it comes to that, we're well and truly into the age of where we need some 90s nostalgia. So, I mean, is this then a 90s kid coming to the future story?
Ooh, yeah. Got accidentally frozen in time?
Well, or something about, like, I do like his little hip monitor thing with the LCD display. So, like, maybe that's something to do with this time machine.
Yeah.
Or, like, however he got there.
Okay. What were your words again?
Suggested lift.
Okay. Yeah, I can sort of see that, you know, they've accidentally been taken through time.
Yeah.
To the, 21st century, 2021. Whole world's in pandemic.
The world's in the midst of a horrible pandemic.
And he's got like this LCD display monitor on his hip that is, I don't know, I'm sort of wondering, is it just a kid out of time and therefore, sort of looking at the world in wonder, or is this kid on a mission sort of thing? And like,
I wonder if this is a bit more of like a, he only arrives in the future for like short periods of time. And so the monitor is that's like a countdown. It's like how much time this kid has left until his like time bubble runs out.
You're not playing the kid, you're playing someone else.
I feel like you're playing someone else. Yeah.
And you keep on seeing this kid turn up at these kind of like a watcher from Fringe or whatever it was, where that guy kept on turning up at every single scene. I kind of see that you see this kid looking at the 7-segment display and realizing that he's only got a certain amount of time left before he needs to head off.
Well, yeah, and he's wearing these weird clothes.
It's all backwards, like
all these backwards. Yeah, he's wearing his pants on backwards, his hat on backwards. He's got big like baggy shirt on with fucking hypercolor.
Oh fuck yeah, it's hypercolor all the way.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm just imagining that you reach out to grab and you grab hold, but he gets away, and just as you see him sort of getting away, you see that handprint on the back.
Handprint on his hypercolor.
There's something about hypercolor. Who thought that was a great idea when, as an adult, all you saw was the bright coloured sweat stains?
So, yeah, I think you do have a couple of scenes then where your character spots them and nearly gets hold of them, and then finally you like manage to talk to this kid, and you obviously get a sense of what's going on.
Yeah.
Why are they here? Are they trying to find something to find information to bring back about the future for some reason? Are they just like joyriding? I
think what's actually happened is they're actually from like another branch of time. Like, I think that kind of what's happened is they're looking for the solution to a major problem.
Mm-hmm.
And if they don't get this to happen, basically our future is in trouble.
Okay. Is this because, is it sort of that reverse, I don't know what the term for it is, but like they're talking to you about something that didn't happen, right? And so you need to help them. When was the Cuban Missile Crisis? Oh, no, that was way back in
the 80s.
No, it was the 60s.
Oh, was it? Oh, jeez.
Yeah. I know.
Cold War.
I guess I'm just thinking about the Cold War, which is...
Yeah, of course the Cuban Missile Crisis was in the 60s. It was all around bloody John F. Kennedy.
Yeah.
But, I see I know what you're talking about.
I'm trying to think of what's happening in the 90s. I guess that was the start of, the Gulf War and stuff.
Yeah. Saddam Hussein.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what they could have been that was, narrowly averted in our actual timeline. Mm-hmm. That's happening back then, and the reason it was averted is because of whatever the events of this game, essentially.
Yeah.
We can just make something up. Right?
Yeah, I like the idea of you meet this kid out of time. So basically, he knows a lot more than you do the first time that you sort of meet up with him. And then a later time that you meet up with him, he doesn't know what you're talking about.
You're saying that he's doing it it's literally out of... You're not seeing him in the same order.
In the same order, no.
So like a time traveler's wife situation.
Yeah. And you see him at random positions. And the whole idea is that basically he's trying to get the right information. He's not actually a kid as such. It's like...
Well, I mean... If you're really doing the sort of seeing him come into different times, then you can really jump around. And now this is reminding me of the TV show Dark, which is wild. With this sort of stuff.
I need to see it.
Really good. I don't think we've watched the last season, but I like the idea that you see them briefly for a period very early on when they're 63 years old. And they know all this stuff, but they don't actually get a chance to tell it to you properly.
Yeah, they're actually from the future, from where you are now.
Yeah, exactly. But
okay, so why is this kid the one going through time? Is it that his parents have actually created this technology?
Or he did,
and it's one of these things that he can't actually control.
I do like that idea that he can't control it. He was in some sort of accident at the lab, which bombarded him with chronod radiation, and it throws him through time. And they put this device on him because they can measure the radiation or something to know when
the next jump is going to happen.
Yeah, essentially. But he never knows where he's going to end up.
Yeah,
it's just somewhere. It's always somewhere in the future. Within, X, maybe it's he knows it's within his lifetime or something.
Yeah.
Which I think was, again, with the time traveler's wife sort of situation. That, he seems to
So
just
how old is your character in 2021?
The character you're playing?
Yeah. 40s?
Yeah. There aren't enough, middle-aged protagonists.
Yeah, because what I'm thinking is maybe this kid... When you go back into your, you go back home and you look through your...
Oh, you knew them or something.
That was the kid that disappeared down the block from you when you were a kid. And you were playing with them in the street and all this sort of stuff, and then they disappeared one day. And you just seem to remember that, it's something about the backwards cap or something like that, or the specific hypercoloured T-shirt. And then...
Or, he could just have some other sort of...
Yeah, some other sort of trait.
Features,
yeah. But I kind of like then that your whole thing is to try and get them back in time and get them back to their normal time, which actually sets in stone some other things to happen, because you maybe remember...
Is that wiping out your own timeline then? Or at least modifying
No. I kind of like the idea of you remember that this kid disappeared for 8 years. So he gets back in time somehow.
Right. But then, so where's the version of him that is traveling normally through the time stream?
Well, for 8 years...
Do you have to track them down?
Maybe they disappear again after a certain amount of time. They turn up again every 8 years.
Okay. Oh, that's interesting. Well, except that...
I know, I'm just...
I know. This is the problem with fucking time travel games. I'm trying to get my head around it. Anyway, we don't have to figure out all the details of it. But I like that idea of essentially helping this person at different points. They turn up at different points, and I think it's like an adventure game where basically you're trying to get them, out of the bind that they've got themselves caught in this time. And you can have some fun things where, like, within the one scene, you're dealing with like two different versions of the same guy from different times or something, and like,
you've been talked to one over the radio, and then you're talking to another one there, and they're like, one's like a middle-aged version, one's like the younger version.
It's kind of like the scene in Back to the Future 2, where like Marty is talking to Doc over the radio and sneaking back into the high school where his younger self is.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you've got like the future version of this guy talking to you as you try to, and telling you things he remembers happened, or something that you need to make happen, or whatever.
So what I like, or what could end up happening, is when you were a kid and you were over at this guy's place, you accidentally broke the window of his dad's like garage or something like that. You snuck in there and you stole something that basically caused when they did their next experiment, caused it to explode, caused this kid go through all this time stuff, and it's just because you happen to not want to get caught, so you sort of stole some of the evidence.
Well, or I was even thinking like, you're playing baseball with this kid or whatever, and it sort of cracks the like secure glass that was part of the lab equipment or something, and so that when the next time they did their experiment, like the glass broke and the radiation, flooded out and hit the kid.
Instead of going forwards to the apple, it went backwards, through the kid's window, and he got sent through time instead of the apple.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's cool. All right, I reckon we've got time for one more.
Okay. Do we want to do a what 3 words, or?
Sure, let's mix it up for the last one. What 3 words, Trevor?
Watered, reaped, shrewdly.
Okay.
I mean, reaped, I'm immediately seeing a Grim Reaper sort of
Grim Reaper
thing. But watered, I'm sort of seeing, I don't know, a decrepit sort of waterlogged Grim Reaper rising from the depths.
Or is this the Grim Reaper's garden? You have to shrewdly water things. How does the Grim Reaper garden? Does he attempt to kill things so he can have like their souls in his garden?
Now I'm just picturing this garden, which has been like, there's so many people dying. There is basically the world wasn't supposed to have this many people, and he's just trying to keep his garden tended, but like they had never added another Grim Reaper, so he's always out, like literally going, okay, you're done, sort of like, well, supermarket scanning.
He's got a fucking scythe, which is used for generally like cutting large swaths of grass. Is it that it's built up so much that he's literally using the scythe like you would to cut grass, but it's to take these souls? So he's just like, 10 more souls. Like, he's literally using his scythe like a scythe now. Yeah. And that's his gardening, is essentially clearing this space of fucking all these pesky human souls that are gathering around waiting to be sent on to wherever they go next. And he's just trying to grow some fucking lettuce.
Yeah, and basically I can see like the in between each level, or each sort of mission that he goes on, he sort of takes a little bit of time off and he gets to look after his garden, but he gets like a 10-minute time to look after his garden, and then he's got to be back out there because a war's going on now. So he's like cutting down both sides. It doesn't really matter who he's cutting down, but basically...
Well, I don't even know if it has to be... I mean, yeah, I think there are wars going on all the time, and it's just like... All right, clear this area of souls, because it's literally, there's so much backlog that it's like by the time he gets back to one spot, like another 100,000 people have died in that area because he's got to do the entire world, and there's just so many people dying all the time. So, and yeah, I think I'm almost thinking you have to like put up fences around your garden to keep all the fucking souls out that haven't been reaped yet. Mm-hmm. Like basically, human souls in this world are just pests. They're just like milling around, not really knowing what to do.
I love the idea that you leave out like your slug bait and all this sort of stuff, but it's just to keep the souls away from like chewing the grass and or
just like trampling on stuff.
On stuff. And I'm picturing that all this stuff is like hamburgers. That's the bait, basically. Like you drag them away to other places. You build up these little McDonald's or something like that. That's basically
maybe. I mean, I'm just kind of picturing them almost as this force, or almost like the grass itself, right? Like you have to continue mowing to keep the area clear. You have to continue reaping souls to keep them back and to keep them from encroaching.
So is this one of these things where you, rather than the Grim Reaper actually going to, say, France and dealing with people in France, basically they all turn up in the in this world that is sort of like it's almost like the in between whatever.
Well, I think it's more that I think he is on Earth. I think souls are over time drawn to him, and there's literally just so many that he doesn't need to travel more than like 100 meters from where he's holed up. Like he's literally gone to the least populated place on Earth, so they have the furthest they need to travel, and still they're just constantly surrounding him and showing up endlessly, and he just does not have time to reap them all. So yeah, he doesn't have to travel to reap these souls. He just goes out. It's like, I need to. What's my quota for today?
7. Oh, shit.
Well, no, I think it's more like 7,000. But because he's literally taking down just like 10 at a time with each, thing of his scythe. It's like, all right, well, I need to do the back paddock because I want to plant a crop there. So I'm going to clear out that area and put up some fences to guide them around.
And it's kind of like a 3D Stardew Valley, but with clearing out souls.
Or I was almost picturing like a Viva Pinata or something, or and then maybe you do have some aspects of like, there are some souls that have different elements of stuff that you can use for your garden or something, or like they drop things when you find specific more rare types of souls, or like people who were particularly good or particularly bad in their lives or something like that.
But it's all about getting rid of these shitty souls and making sure these good souls actually kind of make it onto your property. So when you kill them on your property, it drops the nutrients into your garden. Whereas if you got really bad people that are going to spoil your grass and all this sort of stuff. Yeah, that's got some.
I do like that idea. Then yes, if certain souls have different properties, and it sort of shows just in the color of them, or like they have a certain little glowing light in them or something, and then you've got
I kind of see the aura of these souls is going to be different colors depending on.
Yeah, you could do some cool visual effects. I was more picturing like almost a little just light pulsing inside them, and the rest of them is sort of grey and transparent. But
I'm just seeing like this mob, and you're literally going through and just taking him down 10, 15, 20 at a time.
Yeah,
just mowing through it, trying to clear out the
But I think then you can get things that like might attract a certain type of soul that you need, so that you can be like, okay, it's been 3 days since I put up that lure for, souls of people who were into karate. I don't know, just literally a random thing. Because that's particularly good for my pumpkins. Yeah. So I've put the lure over there, and I have to I can lead them to on and then cut them down. Yeah. That's really fun.
I know, there's just something about, like, when you get the wave of murderers, like, because I'm picturing that they're the more decayed. I think the nicer someone was, the less decayed they were. And so you really get these really decayed, slow-moving murderers or horrible people. But when they get in there, they really fuck shit up. Like, you've got to...
Well, like, I think it's like salting the earth as they walk across it, basically. Like, you can't grow, you can't do things where they were killed.
Yeah.
Or where they were reaped.
Cool.
Yeah, that's cool. I just really love that idea of the Grim Reaper just literally having this endless supply of souls because he's the only one for all eternity and there's 8 billion people on the planet. Yeah.
I mean, there's more people living today than what there has ever died. So, from what I remember reading.
Is that true? Jesus. Could be. I don't know. Anyway, I think we'll leave it there tonight. So thank you for joining us this week on Bitstorm. If you want to find us online, shoot us a review. We'd really appreciate any feedback you've got. Go to podchaser.com/Bitstorm to do that. And, shoot us a note.
We'd like to thank Kuridas for the use of the song Mount to find stuff for the album Containment Failure.
That's right. So thank you again for joining us this week on Bitstorm. I'm Ben Slinger.
I'm Trevor Scott.
And
yo ho ho and a bottle of rum. I'm Santa Claus and I've come for your mum.